Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Abby, as you know, and we're going to be going over my sketchbook that I've had continuously over for I would say since 2019. It's falling apart and it's pretty thick, and I'm wanting to explain a lot of the pieces in here and kind of go over why just why I made it and what I was feeling and what my progress was. Okay, so my first page is off to a great start. I didn't know how to draw realistic at first, so we have this. It was supposed to be Billie Eilish. So then the next page we have Duolingo. Not sure why. And then the next page we have some sketches. So as you see, I just started off with drawing and sketching a lot of just really basic things like flowers, a lot of fan drawings, right? And as we continue on, once again I tried some still life and it wasn't that fun for me. This is when I started kind of realizing what I liked. I'm just like, wow, schools are cool and I like bright colors. After this point in time, we see that I'm using my art to kind of portray something inside of me. And that's for me creating the best works. I was going through a lot in high school, in my opinion, just mentally, because I had really bad, self-worth, and just my mental health was not the best. Grade in my work a bit, right? So this is just mostly sketches again. We see some raccoons lighting it up. You could tell where this is going. This was my dog when he was barking at some armadillos. Random sketch. Oh, here we go with the weird intense stuff, right? This is when I started really letting my self freehand. When I just got a pen and started drawing fluidly, letting my conscious go, not really judging myself and just wanting to fill the page up, is when I found myself creating my favorite things in a way. This was when I started getting into spirituality, and I got some Copic markers and started, just doodling and adding color. No judgment, just I kept telling myself that I needed to fill the page up. And this is what really helped. I really like this page. This was also another theme page. We just see myself filling up pages. I told myself, I said, make sure there's no empty spaces. I outdid myself here. So we're seeing this progression from, these kind of bare, kind of stylish pages to more colorful pages, I guess. Kind of experimenting with different pens and stuff. Okay, so this is when we see my mental health kind of plummet. It's good that I was able to express myself through art because I can't necessarily express myself with words. I'm not the type of person to confine to people, so really in high school all I had was just me and the sketchbook. Although creating isolation like this can be dangerous. It could also be a great form of self-reflection, especially me looking back at this as someone who was 20 years old in college. Makes you kind of see you could have worked on your mental health more, which I did. That's why I'm healthier now. But yeah, so definitely some edgy high schooler stuff. Here we see another really weird image. I was really just feeling lonely at this time. Then I kind of got into drawing people. This was also for painting reference. This, I really like this. This is when I started really expressing myself, being able to express myself more. I remember thinking really deep into this. This is kind of like ego death in a way. I see my spirituality reflect in my art too. Your subconscious is your art. My art really reflects my spiritual journey, and every time I would sit back in silence and just look at my art, I have like a wall of paintings, kind of like this, but it was like a lot more in my old room. I would sit there and look at it, and I would be able to kind of connect the pieces and see how much I progressed in my spiritual journey. And that's something like that's really cool because art can lead to a lot of good self-growth and self-reflection, you know? So you just kind of have to take time in silence and look at that. This was when I tried to, guess who this is, guys? Drake. This does not look like Drake. It's Drake with pink eye. Look at his eye, guys. Yikes. Okay, well, we see a progression. Sparkle was kind of hard to use for me back then. This is when I started to develop my own personal style. I was really into cartoons. I saw this picture of somebody drawing like the sun, and it had like eyes similar to this, and then I incorporated more abstract, more fluid kind of cartoon like stuff to it with like I love Adventure Time. It's like my favorite cartoon. So I kind of incorporated that into my style as well. This page is so beautiful though. Okay. This was when I was really sad. Really, when I'm sad, I create such beautiful pieces. I sat in silence and just drew. It was literally my old room. It was dark. I only had one light on, and I just sat there drawing. So I kind of just portrayed myself feeling empty and, you know, decided to draw it out. So then we see myself trying to once again experiment with portraits. And then I remember I drew this when I was sick. Everything just clicked. I don't know why. I was sitting there in my bed, tired of being on my phone. I guess I'll draw. This was in 2022. So this is my from 2019 to now 2022. To like draw faces really well. Like I just started copying photos from the internet. I was gonna draw like every different page from different cultures. I ended up only doing 2, but I still really like it. Once again, my mental health was not great. I really like this piece and I think I may remake it. Oh, once again, some sad sketches. Even though it's really simple, like the thing is I really hated these pieces, but now I really like the simplicity of it because it just shows great emotion. I will always love every single thing I make, even if it's the most simplest, most absurd thing. And then we got our hands on oil pastel. This is when I started doing my collection of style with oil pastels, which I still really enjoy doing. This was Tyler the Creator. Some more sketches for Inktober. It's in there. This was like a freehand sketch. And right here, kind of just on like a dark path, we see here darker kind of art, which I really do love. Just that amount of contrast you could see. I remember I started off fairly simple with these pieces and wanted to keep just adding on to it. And so we see like the minute details there. And then we see here, I was really heavily inspired by Turkish culture. You see these Turkish lamps, this architecture and pots. I used to live in Turkey when I was younger, so that's where it came from. And then this is when I tried to be a TikToker. People are gonna love this since it's trending. That's Ice Spice and Pink Panthers. I don't even like Ice Spice like that. Oh, here's Distro Lonely. I don't even like him like that for real. And then we see more doodles. I wanted to just use my Copic markers. I really feel like I was more creative back in high school. Really envy this work I used to do, and I didn't even like it. I didn't even think it was good. So now I'm more grateful in terms of being able to appreciate everything I make, because I know one day I'm going to look back and just be like, why can't I do that like I used to? This was for my bathroom sign. I got this bathroom sign from my friend, a woman's bathroom sign, and this was a plan to go over and paint it. This is when I got into figures and more realism. Very beautiful, honestly. But this figure right here is something that I used to like draw a lot. This is when I figured out that I was pretty good at doing figure sketches. I kind of applied that in like my artwork recently. You see some figure paintings in the back. If we move my mic, excuse me. just want a video on that painting. I'll love to make one. I'd love to make a video on all my paintings explaining them. Okay, this is a little Uzi sketch. Stand on my money. I'm 6'4" or something like that. I freaking love this. I don't know why. And the thing is, back when I made it, I actually was so embarrassed to post it. I remember posting on my Instagram back when people from high school used to follow me. I was just like, oh my god, people are gonna think I'm so weird for making art like this. But like, once I found my courage and confidence, I was able to kind of put it out and be like, I love this piece. And now it's pinned on my art Instagram. Just like, we see here that I've kind of awakened my creativity. I feel this sadness kind of transforming itself into something new. Sadness sprouted something so beautiful, and that is my creativity. You know, you gotta be grateful for the sad times because they could fuel your art and turn them into beautiful things. Okay, this was another sad piece. You saw this figure sketch back a couple pages ago. I think this was either late 2023 is when I like started taking an interest in my culture more and my culture's history in ukiyo-e, woodblock prints and stuff, and just like Japanese folklore. Yeah, this was a really nice watercolor piece. I really like doing watercolor, and I was like kind of good at it. Takes a while to find your niche, guys. This was to post on TikTok, honestly, because I used to have a art account. Okay, and then here we see my style come out once again. I made it back then. I didn't like it at all because I was like, what the heck is this? But it's so creative. I remember making this thinking like if it was a children's book, right? Because eventually I want to make children's like book illustrations. Obviously I'm not going to use my style like this because I feel like it's not really suited for children unless like they're a little bit older maybe. I don't know, but I like this. Look at this. Look at this armadillo. He's like, give me all your money. Ooh, this is so good. Based off a song. It's Confessions by Juice WRLD. I had that song on repeat, and I just kept listening to it while drawing this. And yeah, this is what we ended up doing. I really like this piece because just the style of it is a little bit different from what I usually do. More figure sketches. This was a little bit more freeing kind of sense, I guess. Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. So this is a piece that I tried to do. I'm not great at drawing cars, clearly, but I really wanted to test my limits and push myself, especially because a lot of people I knew like cars. This is where you see some JDMs. This was also, obviously, JDM is a part of Japanese culture, and I love expressing my culture through art. That's why we see Astro Boy. This was a oil pastel drawing. I really like this. This was just me experimenting with how to use oil pastels and how to blend the colors. This was out of the blue. Just experimenting with colors. It's a henya. I love Overwatch, you guys. I was like, I haven't drawn fan art in over like 3 years. And this was just a sketch that I did because I was like, I haven't drawn anything in a while, so I'm just gonna draw whatever. So, I don't know, just drew a bunch of cats, I guess. This was when I decided that I needed to take change and move. This was when I got more into my Japanese culture appreciation. So I said, letting go takes strength. Tell myself some reassurance that you have to feel uncomfortable and get out of your comfort zone and push yourself further in order to grow. Because at this point in time, like March 2024, I felt really stuck and stagnant at where I was. Hence this gap, because I wasn't really creating a lot during this time. And I just wanted to nurture my creativity more. I was in a very comfortable spot in life. It's not the fact that I just figured that I should push myself further. I'm really avid on trying to keep getting better and better every day. So This was when I moved here, because I used to live in Louisiana and I moved to California. Although, this was whenever I was lonely and all my friends were gone. So I was just by myself. So maybe that's where it comes from. We see here some random faces. I wanted to do some style work again. You could just see the comparison. This stylizing now to what I was doing before. This was, once again, Japanese art that I wanted to stylize. I really, really, really like this though. Japanese ukiyo art typically did use really bright colors time to time in different eras, but I wanted to incorporate like a very colorful and unusual, a little modern twist to the very old ukiyo-e Japanese woodblock prints. So yeah, that's what I did, and I tried to kind of work on stylizing it. I like this. I was like, I want to draw anime again because I used to draw anime a lot in middle school. This isn't really anime. This is anime. It's pretty cute. I like it. I just wanted to see if I could like do it again and better. Really like that one. And then this is very recent. This was February? Oh yeah, it's the next month. So now we're looking at the stylization of that style again, but in a more put together fluid form in a way. Let me know if you guys like this style. If you watch this far, I love you and I appreciate you for like appreciating my art and what I have to say. Try to experiment with geometric and fluid shapes. And then I drew this guy as an example of how I wanted to draw it. Once again, I tried to apply my style. This was recent. I actually just got back from a trip to Japan because my grandpa passed away. He had a great life, though. He was such a great man. Such a wonderful soul. And I take a lot of inspiration from him because I want to be like as kind as him in a way. Because he was always smiling. Like, when I went to Japan, it really changed me and kind of, like, re-inspired me again. And that's why I'm back to, like, trying to push my content and, like, pursue my art and show and share my art and create a community. But I could always talk about that in another video if you guys want to hear that. Modern stylization of kimono kind of esque stuff. And I put a guitar there because I thought this girl was a cool pop star that I made. And also I'm learning guitar. I don't like this page. I'll probably like it in the future. But not right now. I saw this, I forgot what it was called. These statues are like protectors. In Japan, and we have them at like the grave sites, and I went to go visit my family's grave site, and there was like the statues near the temple in that area. It's very wonderful. And then we see pickle-chan. This is a candy I used to like back in the day, and the geisha. Once again, experimenting with my style. Kind of getting back to it. Wanted to draw some different outfits. And then this was literally a couple days ago that I made these. So this was another thing. I remember my mom texted in my family group chat. She said, "Gambatte ne." So I wanted to write that down, especially because I'm to practice my Japanese writing and hiragana and stuff more. Once again, my oil pastel style. Wanted to try it out again. Cool guy. Different version. More, do I compare? Which one do you guys like better? I kind of like this one better. That's just because the colors. This one, I wanted to experiment with how Japanese art would, I tried to mimic their, like, fluidity. Because they would, like, often have these curves and, like, ridges in their art. And I wanted to try to mimic that in a way. So I made these. Obviously, I don't like this one very much, but this guy is pretty cool. This one's a lot better. This one's also free-handed. It's that oni that I drew. And I wanted to once again mimic that kind of aspect. And then this one is my final page. But this was another Japanese kind of artwork that I'm working on. Granted, I should have recorded this video after I finish this. Here's a picture of it finished for when I finish it and when I'm editing. That is the end of my sketchbook. So 2019, this to creative beauty to just experiments, right? So yeah, that is the end of the video. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys watch it, that's cool. Thanks for watching. Much love. Stay happy. Bye.